new at 6, in a rare legal battle, a longtime judge is suing the Richland County legislative delegation in order to try and keep his job for another 4 years.
He argues that a state senator's personal animosity toward him is the only reason that he has not been reappointed. Judge Joseph Strickland has served as the county's master in equity for the past 34 years. He says the delegation has an obligation to forward his name to Governor Henry McMaster for approval, since he was the only person deemed qualified to serve this position by the Judicial Merit Selection Commission, also called the JMSC, for the 6-year term ending in 2027.
Our Nick Neville is on this story today, joining us live now in the studio to break down the complexities behind this lawsuit. Nick.
Yes, and there are several, Judy and Dondi. So the legislative delegation, these lawmakers are not on the same page, both about what the law stipulates when it comes to these situations and about how the delegation went about this process. Those arguments playing out in court documents this week. Longtime Richland County Judge Joseph Strickland suing lawmakers who put him on the bench in an effort to keep his job as the county's master in equity. He says the post is legally his after a screening panel recommended him as the only candidate for the job in 2021 and wants the state Supreme Court to intervene. Minority Leader Todd Rutherford, who also sits on the delegation and filed the official response on behalf of the panel Wednesday, disagrees. It's a political question beyond what the court should review, he says.
The delegation believes that it should be its choice as a delegation who it sends forward. That has been the situation since 1989 when he was first appointed.
A little background on this process. In South Carolina, judicial candidates are first screened by what's known as the JMSC. The Master in Equity post is officially appointed by the governor, but first must be approved by the local delegation. The General Assembly then votes on the appointment as a final stamp of approval.
I'm not anti-Judge Strickland. What I am is pro doing the right thing by the request of the majority of my delegation members.
2 weeks ago, Richland County Legislative Delegation Chair Leon Howard sent a letter to the JMSC asking it to open the application process for Strickland's position. Several delegation members, including Senator Dick Harpootlian and Representatives Seth Rose and Heather Bauer, argue that Howard didn't go through the appropriate channels to do this, as there wasn't a vote or public hearing on the matter.
They were communicated with, not necessarily in writing, but they were communicated with about opening up this process. This is nothing I woke up and decided to do on my own.
We've got problems in government, but they shouldn't be compounded by this kind of sinister secrecy.
And Strickland writes in his complaint that it's personal animosity from Senator John Scott that is motivating all of this. Scott declined to comment for this story. Live in the studio, Nick Neville, WIS News 10.
All right, Chris, thank you very much. Or Nick, I should say thank you very much. Attorney Chris Kinney, representing Harpootlian, Bauer, and Rose, writes in his response to Strickland's complaint that even if the delegation had the power to scrap a nomination and start the process over, which he argues it does not, it would have to be done with the delegation acting as one, something that those three members say did not happen here.